Three, two, one, and the countdown in the books. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. Dan Vaughn, the voice of the Monarchs. Got a good show for you, folks. Another good show as we say goodbye to Thanksgiving. Hello to Chrissy. That's Australian for Christmas. Headed that way, we're going to talk merchandise. We're going to talk Monarchs. Plenty to talk about on this week's edition of Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Kenny, thank you, my friend. As a matter of fact, I was laughing about your Facebook post this morning. Not laughing, I guess I should say commiserating with you, my friend. Good to see you out there, my good friend Kenny Matthews. Let's kind of set the scene here. I got my lineup card here. I got plenty of notes, which usually means when DB's got lots of notes. Well, first off, hello, welcome to the show. Happy Thanksgiving to you folks. Let me get the graphics going here as well. When you're your own guy, you got to kind of do this. I had some big plans, and I can't get this off the screen. But hey, you know what? It's all good. Let's get that. I'll tell you what. Let's just do this real quickly here. Howdy, everybody. Glad you're along. I hope your Thanksgiving was great. To me, anyway, it seemed like a normal, I guess, pseudo-normal, I guess, because at least in my neighborhood, had a good time, good turkey day. Of course, the Cowboys were terrible, so it was pretty much what we expected around my parts. All righty. A lot of card looks like this today. It's the merchandise edition. Of course, I'm wearing the KC throwback today. A must. By the way, off the top, share this. If you like what we're doing, share it on Facebook, on YouTube. I've got my script in my face here. You folks watching on YouTube, you folks watching on Facebook, share it, like it, get a notification set up, say, hey, DB's on. Also, you podcast folks, hello and welcome. We also have the podcast. You're listening to us in the podcast edition. Glad you're along as well. We're just everywhere. The way the drill works, thumbs up. You hearing me? If you're hearing me, thumbs up. Audio's good. Let me go through my lineup card today. I mentioned the merchandise edition. Lance Chandler will be joining us shortly. Lance, the merchandise director of the Monarchs, and he's the guy with all the goodies. He's really sort of the Santa Claus of the Monarchs front office because he gets all the good stuff, the good toys, right? He gets them first, and he gets to see them first. And we're going to talk to Lance about merch and all that. Also, we're counting down to Buck O'Neil possible, and I'm going to give you a good 2 minutes in a moment about that. We're going to talk a bit more about Buck O'Neil, also Winter Ball. I'm going to give you a story on both a little bit of a tease here for you folks that are watching on video. I invite you to join us on the podcast because I'm going to give you some bonus content there you won't get anywhere else, except for the audio side. But we're going to talk a little bit about Winter Ball, give you some updates there, and really get you rocking and rolling and hopefully get this countdown for Sunday when we hope to get great news on MLB Network on Buck O'Neil's inclusion in Baseball's Hall of Fame. So there we go. That's my lineup card there. Now, I usually have my 2-minute graphic up. I don't know if I can actually put one up. Let me see if I can. I sort of forgot to put it up. Oh, well. When you're producing, you can do that. So I'll get, there we go. There's a good 2 minutes. Let me go ahead and start it here. And there we go. So it's starting right there in the corner. It's a good 2 minutes with DV. And this is my opinion, and I think I echo the opinion of a lot of folks. If Buck O'Neil's name was not called on Sunday for the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, something's very wrong with the game that's already got a lot of things wrong with it. For a game that already has a work stoppage in Major League Baseball, by the way, we're not stopping work in the American Association, by the way. Put that logo up in a second. But Buck O'Neil, stats alone, and I put all these stats up, all the veterans and all the different, and we're going to go through that a little bit in the back end of the show. You know what? I tossed the stats out because really, that's not the Buck O'Neil story. Buck O'Neil, his story is so much more. And the baseball's Hall of Fame is not just, which is expanding, obviously the first timers, the guys that the shoe-in Hall of Famers are in there for playing on the field, but there's also a place for guys who's transcended the game, owners, umpires, legendary figures. And J.L. Wilkinson, for example, the founder of the Monarchs, is in there. Buck O'Neil should be in there. He was the first African-American major league coach, scout. I mean, that alone should merit him something. But more importantly, his life was an ambassador for the great game, not just the baseball game that we see now, but the Negro Leagues and their story of Reign Reborn, the story of the brave men, the story that what they endured. He was a transcending figure. You can't watch a baseball documentary. You can't watch an old talk show. You can't talk about the Monarchs, the Negro Leagues, without the name Buck O'Neil being included. And I know Bob Kendrick feels this way. I know the Monarchs front office feels this way, and all Monarchs faithful feel this way. Buck O'Neil's name should be called on Sunday. Now, granted, Buck O'Neil does have an award named after him, and there's a great statue. I showed that to you last week on the show. But there's more to the story than that. It's not just stats, and we're going to have to Lance joining us in a moment. It's not just the stats side of things. It's the transcending side of things. And for baseball to really get it right, they've got to get Buck O'Neil in on Sunday. Toss out the stats. There's no better ambassador for baseball to this day than Buck O'Neil. His name, his legacy is the best thing for baseball ambassadorship. He is the ultimate baseball ambassador, and he must go in on Sunday, and we'll hope you'll have an announcement more on that in just a moment. All right, let's get the Reign Reborn guest intro. Let's play that in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Can you hear me, Lance Chandler? Over.
I can. What's up, Dan?
How you doing, my friend? In case you don't know this face is Dan Vaughn. That Chandler. I called you before you came on the air. I called you the Santa Claus of the Monarchs because you get all the good toys before everybody else does. I mean, you get all the good toys. I mean, you were wearing the KC before anybody else got the Reign Reborn throwback. You've got you get all the good stuff. So would it be safe to say that you are the Santa Claus of the Monarchs front office? You gotta be, man.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't know if I am or not, but I just got to make sure everything's good for everybody. You know what I mean? If it's good enough for us to wear a couple times and makes it through, then it's good enough to put on the market, and that's all I'm doing. That's all.
You are doing a great job. I'm one of the few that was around the old brand, and this is just lapped the field. You've lapped the field. It's so much fun to wear these things, to wear the cap you're wearing. I get stopped all the time, whether it be in Kansas City, in Dallas-Fort Worth, in Lubbock, Texas. People say, oh, that's cool. You've done a great job. First off, tip of the cap to you. Has it been as exciting for you as it is for all of us as fans and front office folk?
Absolutely. I can't take all the credit by any means. We have a pretty solid team here, and I rely on them an awful lot. So shout out to all those people. You know who you are. But yeah, it's very exciting. And, I'll have to say without the partnership with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum and being able to use the Monarchs brand, we wouldn't be half of what we are today. So I know you said that it's been a big jump from T-Bones to Monarchs, but we cannot take all credit for that. The brand definitely has been elevated with the history aspect of it. So it's been amazing to be able to connect with that aspect.
And that was one of my notes here. I mean, we've got our own unique brand. I mean, I remember taking some hats to some folks in Sioux City, and inside the label of the cap has, it's official, and it's in my label here. I guess I should read, but we have our own official, and it has the Negro Leagues, it has us. It is a unique situation. Tell us about that, how unique it is having really, I mean, how many clubs have their own brand? I mean, we all have our own brand, but our own brand with a partner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very unique. We're very blessed to be able to not only create our own brand, but then be able to help leverage that out to the public with the help of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum and the old Monarchs and everything like that we get to tie our names to. So yeah, it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, and I just, again, the reception we get, it's not just locally in Kansas City, which is great, but how many times I see caps and merchandise on Twitter from folks all over. I mean, it really is it's a global brand.
Yeah, we're so blessed to be able to leverage the brand throughout the United States, and then even we're shipping orders, even today outside of the United States. So that's such a blessing to be able to have that in our back pocket to say our fans don't just reside in Kansas City. They don't just reside in KCMO and KCK. We are so much more widespread than that because this is more than just the team that's out on the ball field, although that is our main focus. There's the historic aspect of it, and there's so much more that goes on inside the brand.
The show is Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. My name's Dan Vaughn. Lance Chandler, merchandise director of the Monarchs, joining us on the show. And let's continue. I thought about this morning. I didn't put this in my email to you, but I want to walk through, I guess I'm going to sound like I know what I'm talking about. Product development is product development. So an idea comes, let's say, maybe it's something you came up with, or a graphic designer, or maybe Mark Brandmeier, Mark McKee, somebody comes up with an idea that's what we want. How long and how hard is that challenge, and how long does that take to bring it from like point A to the shelf?
Yeah. So inception to being able to actually wear it is a tedious process, and I'll be honest, COVID has not made it any quicker. So we're lucky to have very patient fans. Very patient fan base that, being patient is not only shipping times take a little bit longer, but also the production time is taking longer than we've ever seen in this industry. So typically where you would see products being able to be made in weeks to, a month or so, now we're looking at almost doubling or tripling that time. So there are definitely new challenges that come with these trying times that we're still in. But again, just so lucky to be able to have a fan base that understands and is dedicated to continue to support us through these times. So it's special.
Yeah, I know the challenges have been tough. I know we've had several times where we got these. I'm in those meetings and they let the broadcaster kind of sit there and I just sit there and. But I hear you guys talking, and you'll say, "Well, we got this great, but we don't have the sample." That's been a huge thing in your career. And I know it's you've not been doing this for 100 years, but has this been the most challenging part of your career? The dynamic of the pandemic, supply chain, all the things that have gone into it. Has that been the biggest challenge for you?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I do have a little bit of experience in this field and kind of helped start a brand from nothing. And I've seen it all, and until this past couple years, and then I was introduced to quite a bit more. So delayed shipping times, delayed production times, products sitting in ports and nobody to drive the shipping containers. So yeah, we've seen it all. So.
Well, this is funny because off the subject, well, not shipping containers, not off the subject, but I've actually broadcast a game with several games with Paul Morgan, my broadcast partner in Australia. We've actually broadcast with shipping containers. They actually make great broadcast moves, except when it's a day game and the sun in Australia is pounding down at 100 degrees. That's like an oven, but at night it's a great broadcast position actually. So I do know a little bit about shipping containers. So I throw that out there, but I digress. All right.
Do you know how to drive them? Because we could use you.
I can. Well, according to my wife, I'm the really rotten driver of the household, so you're probably better off using a professional. Although I play one on TV, but yeah, that's the thing.
There we go.
Getting the point A, point B. Lance Chandler is the voice you're hearing with me, Dan Vaughn, on Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs, the official show of the Monarchs, and we are rolling into December 2nd, as we shoot this thing live, and of course on the podcast side. All right, it's the holiday season. You're not busy at all, are you? I mean, are you busy? I mean, there's actually nothing going on. No one wants anything for Christmas, right?
Nope.
I mean, no, yeah, so what do we got? What do we got for Christmas? All I want for Christmas is a Monarchs. What do we got for Monarchs Christmas? Hoodies? Are hoodies big this year? That's the hoodies the item this year.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you this much. I think that we've done a great job here as a team, and we've started to kind of create a product line that people are really sought after. And I think it's evident in our sales and our orders that we're getting in. So we can't keep up with them, which is a great problem to have. So again, thank you guys for your patience, because we are trying to fulfill those as fast as possible. But yeah, everything continues to sell. We've had some great sales over the past couple weeks. We have discounted products live on our website right now, along with some great package deals where you can get up to 50% discount. And I'm referring to our mystery boxes. So those things have been so great for us so far that we've continued to extend that deal, and to be determined how long. So don't wait too long. Grab them while you still can. And then as of yesterday, we actually just launched some new fleece on the website. So 3 new hoodies and 2 crew neck sweatshirts. We're really excited to get those products out there looking fantastic. So if you had one thing to pick, best bang for your buck, mystery boxes, newest items, fleece.
All right, so the fleece is in. I put monarchsbaseball.com on the screen. I was over there this morning. Was on there yesterday. Boy, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's the virtual catalog, but all the new items. And how often are you guys adding stuff? I mean, are we looking at are you doing seasonal? Are you doing, hey, I like this item, let's just add this, even though it's maybe middle of a transition? How does that work?
Yeah, so typically I would have collections via seasons, but I think the whole industry has kind of made us relook at how we're handling it this year. So really what you're seeing from us this year is kind of on a accessibility basis. So with fleece kind of being what we need for the season, right? With it being a little bit chillier out, we decided that, okay, it's time to go ahead and really focus on that, which unfortunately doesn't let us attack some of our other needs. But we do know that as seasons progress, kind of as we turn into the new year, there'll be kind of a new focus. So I think it's pretty safe to say you could expect to see somewhere between 5 to 10 products coming out every couple months. So we're going to try to keep things fresh and very funky for you guys too. So.
No, I got a random one for you, because you've seen Jesse Cole of Savannah Bananas, right? You've seen that guy with the yellow suit and all that. Do we have any like?
By the way, Jesse, I need a suit, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, Jesse looks sharp like that. No, I'm not saying we want a yellow Monarch suit, but is there any plans that maybe I could wear a Monarch suit? Like, can we get like maybe this made into a suit, like this or something? Or maybe
yeah, man, we can get you in some pinstripes for sure.
A pinstripe suit with Monarchs across the front, and I want like an old school hat. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Anyway, being goofy here, but championship merchandise. I see there's still merchandise on for championship gear, right? I mean, you can still get that. It looks like it might be discounted there too.
Yeah, it is. It is. So there's a couple products out there right now on our website that you can grab, a t-shirt and a hoodie for sure. And those are both discounted currently. So grab them while you can. But a little secret, little inside tip for you guys. The goal is to have some championship stuff coming out, potentially a collection, still in the works, but that will be released throughout the season. So you guys will still be able to represent the Monarchs championship from this past year that we're so proud of, throughout the season. So I know that, we don't necessarily have all the products that you typically would like to see with the championship, but they're on the way. Trust me.
Awesome. Lance Chandler, the merchandise director of the Monarchs. Now we got the store. Obviously you can order online, but what's the store situation? Are we able to go to the stadium, or how is that? What's the story there? I'm not really up on what can folks drive up and grab them, whatever?
Absolutely. So we do have some products that are exclusive to online only, which that states pretty clearly on the website when you're in the product. But we do have products here in the store that you're more than welcome to come by and see us. Right now, our hours are 9 to 4, pretty much during the weekdays. Now, we have considered opening up some holiday hours, but we're not quite to that point yet. Still catching up on some online orders and whatnot. So, be on the lookout for potentially some extended hours there for the holiday shoppers.
All right. Lance Chandler, I want to get to know you. Well, I know you, but I want to get the fans to know you because they see you walk around the ballpark and they want to, who's the guy? That guy sort of looks like he knows what he's doing. He's wearing cool gear and he sort of knows the gear. Give us a background on you. What is your, what's your resume?
Yeah. So, about 9 years ago, I started a clothing company with a few buddies of mine, and we went 8 years strong before I decided to part ways with that company. Some of you guys may or may not have heard it, called Made Urban Apparel, Made Mob. It's located here in Kansas City, and kind of started that and got my feet wet in the clothing industry, and learned a lot of good practices from that, and also the hardships for sure. So kind of help accelerate my career here to kind of help us get it off on the right foot. So that's the gist of what I've done. Now, I'll be honest, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. So a little bit here, a little bit there. I currently also coach youth basketball. So sports is definitely in my blood, and it runs real deep.
Now, give us the update on that. I know you told me you were coaching last night. You want to shout out to those? What age level are we talking about here?
Yeah, so I got two groups. I got a fifth grade group that I've been with for this is my second year now. So I've had them since fourth grade, and then I also coach a seventh grade group as well. So they play AAU basketball year round. So they get a lot of work in. And they keep me busy for a good 4 or 5 hours a week before we get to the weekends, where we typically play somewhere between 8 to 10 games. So by the time I'm ready to get back here in Monarchs, I'm like, whew, all right, those kids wore me out.
I, as a matter of fact, coached sixth grade football locally in the Dallas area back in the day when Clayton Kershaw was sixth grade, that league anyway. But
Wow.
I remember that trying to keep kids' attention at sixth grade, especially after school, later in the week when they had other things. And hey, we want to run this play, and they're over there, goosing each other. I mean, it's trying. As a substitute teacher, I know how much fun the fourth graders can be. So you get a tip of the cap. Yeah. But that's great though, man. That's really a cool thing. Your memory of the first season for you, because it was your first season. What stood out the most to you as a front office worker? What really stood out to you from the 2021 season?
I mean, if I could be honest, it's the fact that we dominated on the diamond all season. So, I mean, that's always great to see a winner out there, and we had a lot of fun times. Very exciting games, comebacks. Listening to you, Dan, make some of those amazing calls. So thank you for that. But honestly, you can't beat the product that we put out on the field, and that's great. And love seeing all the people come out and support us, and grabbing some merchandise and sitting down with us for a beer or two at the game, and just enjoying the good weather that we got. So.
Awesome. Any final thoughts? I mean, Christmas is here. I mean, anything else you want to pitch, plug? I mean, without me singing, any merchandise you want to? I mean, final thoughts on merch. I mean, you are the Santa Claus of the Monarchs.
All right, so I got something for you guys. Here in a couple days, we're going to start our 12 days of Monarchs. So it's kind of a pun off of the 12 Days of Christmas. It'll be a social media campaign that we start up. So if you guys don't follow us on our socials, definitely give us a quick follow. Doesn't take too long, and we'd appreciate that. But essentially, it'll be a like, share, ad type of thing on social media, where as long as you're participating and you're following all of our platforms that we're asking you to follow, then you'll be entered in a chance to win. And so on the first day, we'll be able to see that we'll have 12 gifts that we're giving out, and then we'll go down to 11, all the way down to one grand prize. So continuous days of continuous prizes, opportunities to win pretty much all month long here in December. So, and you never know what might be in that grand prize. So stay tuned.
Love it, love it. Hey, Lance, appreciate the time, and I really appreciate you just middle of the day to talking with the broadcast guy that's up in the booth. And you know I'm not in the booth today, but I appreciate it. And
Hey,
really,
man, pleasure's mine.
and I love what you're doing. I mean, again, to be able to wear this around, and I'm flying to New York next week to Madison Square Garden. You bet, mark my words, I'll be wearing something Monarchs along with my Texas Tech. So I mean, I'll be wearing both, and I guarantee you,
Right.
there'll be conversation starters when I get to Madison Square Garden. So anyway, appreciate your time, man. Merry Christmas to you, and I look forward to having you on again. And maybe next time you can model some of the new gear that you get in when it's off the shipping container.
Hey, I got you guys. I got you guys.
Lance, appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. There he is. That's Lance Chandler right there, the merchandise director right there, the Monarchs. See you, mate. There he goes. And let's bring him off. There we go. There we go. Well, the director there, Vaughn, was all over the place, wasn't he? I mean, I had the screen. If you want, you folks on the Facebook side are going, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" Big thanks to Lance Chandler for joining us here on Reign Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. My name's Dan Vaughn, voice of the Monarchs. I'm telling you, again, this is not to knock what was going on. Let me turn the mic down just a tad. It seems a little hot on my end. This is not a knock on the old T-Bones, but let me just share with you a little story. Okay. The old T-Bones didn't have the depth of merchandise and branding that we have with the Monarchs. And this is no bashing of anyone. This is not dogpiling on something no longer there. But I'll be honest with you. I had to actually go and make my own my own T-Bones merchandise. And I can bring them out of my closet in the right of shirt after shirt. My wife can vouch. I mean, I would go and buy my own shirts and get them monogrammed and take them to the monogrammer in Kansas City. And I don't mind paying the extra to do it, but I want some custom stuff as well. Some sweaters and things. I wear dressier things in the air, as you well know. I like to wear ties and shirts, things like that. I mean, dress shirts. What I'm saying is, though, there were no options for guys my size. I mean, there wasn't okay. And when I was in the Gary South Shore Railcats, a really good team store they had there, but I didn't have the option of a lot of big kid stuff. And I'm a triple X guy. Now, I was a 4 and a 5. I've dropped 80 pounds. My point is, not just for guys my size, but the variety of it's not just one shirt, right? I got like 8 T-shirts in my closet, all different Monarchs logos, right? Yeah, these jerseys fit me. And there was a time when you couldn't even buy a T-Bones jersey. Now you can buy, I've got all 3 of the Monarchs jerseys from last year. My point being is I want you to realize the investment that Mark Brandmeier, Mark McKee, Jay Hendricks have made in bringing a guy like Lance on as well, who's phenomenal at what he does. And you can tell by his personality, loves what he's doing, and the guy knows his stuff. And we've come a long way, and I just don't want fans to forget how fortunate we are to have the partnership with the Negro Leagues Museum for merchandise and the people we have in place. We are in some really good hands. All right. Where are we? I do take your questions and comments. And a lot of you folks are kind of in and out, which is all good. But we've got some things to get to on the back end of the show. And kind of move my script around. I got, again, these shows, when I get like lots of papers, if you guys are listening online, you're hearing on the audio side, I mean, I got so many papers here, and I don't get to half of them. For some reason, I need to kind of, I don't know why the graphic's kind of funny because, there we go. I'll move myself around. That makes me a little bit better in the screen there, doesn't it? All of a sudden I was blocked behind the graphic. Anyway, all righty. The show, Rain Reborn. Let's dive in to some of the odds and ends because there was some big news on the field this week. And the hot stove is starting to heat up. And probably there's no better first flame on the hot stove league than to, well, I'm just going to play this for you. How about it? Let's do it. Here's a high out toward left field. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, see you later. Way out of here. 3-run home run for Jan Hernandez. He will touch a ball. His 10th RBIs, 33, 34, 35. Oh, man, oh, man. And there's where that ball landed. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember that ball? That's where the ball landed. Let me put that on the screen again for you. There it is right there. That's where the ball landed. That's Jan Hernandez. He's back. Signed last week. Actually, it was the night before Thanksgiving. It was last Wednesday. Signed to a contract. Jan, who, of course, was signed off the ball club. And Joe Capietro talked about this being one of the key moments of the ball club last year was when the team was in Lincoln and we were kind of scuffling a bit. 1, 2, or 3 went to play Winnipeg down in Tennessee. Jan was signed off the roster then. And it was really, it was a real kind of a crossroads for the team. And, of course, Eben Elisabel came in. But it's kind of it's scary if Jan plays the whole season, just how good this club would have been. Oh, by the way, this club did win the American Association. A point not lost on Rob Paneer and Kevin Luco with This Week in the American Association. Their episode saying, kind of tongue in cheek, but I mean, it's one of those deals where, this team was, people forget how good this team was with Jan Hernandez. And I can tell you, I went back through highlight after highlight. And this guy was unreal. I mean, the highlight reel that Jan Hernandez was, I mean, it was time after time after time. I mean, it was just unreal. Just the moonshots. This guy did not hit cheap home runs. I mean, this guy did not, they weren't lollipops. It wasn't like he hit 6, they just cleared, or 6 bombs, they were bombs. The guy was definitely on a roll. I'm not saying he was going to finish in tie with that of Brett Walker, but he was definitely on a roll. And he would have definitely been in the MVP discussion at the end of the season. No doubt about it. For a team that was the long ball calling card, but just think about those home runs this last year. I mean, they were unreal. I mean, he was, get some of these shots up on the screen for you. I mean, they were all just ridiculously hit. I mean, he'd go the other way. He'd go to center. And I got some audio highlights I'm going to play on the podcast. The guy wasn't just a left field mini monster machine in the parking lot. He'd go to right center, go to center. He had all the power all the way. And he was one of those guys that was a glue piece. And what I mean by glue pieces, I think of a Casey Gillespie. Think of Casey Gillespie. He's a glue piece. Darnell Sweeney, he's a glue piece. When you're building a foundation of a house or a team, let's use this house analogy, there's certain cornerstones, right? There's cornerstones around. Casey being one of them. Darnell being one. Jan Hernandez being one. You've got these pieces that are your foundation. And everybody else kind of, ties it around them. The bricks start connecting, and some of those foundation pieces have put you a heck of a foundation together, and you got a great structure. And that's what this club did. This club was unreal. By the way, I'm going to show you. I mean, this is the other way right here. I'm sorry, that's the one he went to right center against Lincoln. I'm sorry about that. Pardon me. I was going to show you the other way here in just a moment. But you see it. I mean, the guy was just ridiculous power. And again, went to the Reds organization, played AAA Louisville. I don't know all the story there, but I'll tell you what he means to me personally. Jan thanked me live on the Facebook Live show on the American Association, and that meant a lot to me. But he's a fine young man. His stats, I mean, he would have led the team in RBIs, home runs, if he'd stayed the whole time. Was leading the team in those departments when he left, and he's a great piece. Talk about a hot stove piece that's right back. I mean, get you going. I mean, you can build a team around Jan Hernandez, and you can build a team to claim a title again around a guy like that because he fits the bill. And I guarantee you that Joe Capietra, I mean, he has to be saying to himself, thank you. What a great Thanksgiving present that was for Joe. And another thing is, and don't forget this either, that Jan Hernandez is the textbook case of what the association is about and what Joe Capietra's plan is about. That's to sign players, give them a chance to chase their major league dreams, second, third, fourth, fifth time, whatever it may be. And he got that chance. And Jan Hernandez has lived that chance. And I've talked about this over and over again. You know, Darnell Sweeney came back. Guys come back to the Monarchs because of Joe Capietra, what he's done. I mean, there's his plan is in place. Guys buy in, they believe in the program. And I heard a great interview today of Ryan Lidge on This Week in the Association with Rob Paneer and Kevin Luco. And Jan even mentioned this too. And I've heard it time and time again, but Jan Hernandez was having fun. He was having fun playing ball. I heard that from Ryan Grotjohn, Morgan McCullough, you name it. And players are having fun. They got a chance to chase their major league dreams. They're going to come back given a chance, and it's great to see. Jan Hernandez, what a great cornerstone piece heading into the Christmas holiday. I mean, there's a lot of clubs that would be ecstatic. And I know Joe pretty well. He ain't done yet. So congratulations to Joe Capietra and the fans, and welcoming back Jan Hernandez to the family. And again, the guy just phenomenal. And you'll hear the audio cuts on the podcast in a few moments. For you podcast folks, you'll hear those. The guy just, my home run calls with him were always, I mean, in this business, you see a lot of things, right? You try to be in awe. I was in awe every time that ball left his bat because he has that kind of crazy raw power. And Jan Hernandez, welcome him back. That's the big news. The Monarchs this week on the hot stove front, having Jan Hernandez back and welcoming back. And that's great news to have Jan Hernandez back with the Monarchs. Questions, comments, I'm here for you on Reign Reborn with your Kansas City Monarchs. Let's move into, and I'm working on a little something. I'm going to get you more, but I'm trying to find a contact for us down in Puerto Rico to give us a little more in-depth, and I'm trying to work on that possibly for the post-Christmas show as they head into the Caribbean World Series. And I thought I would give you a little bit of a winter ball update. But before I give you, I mean, first off, here's the guys that are playing down there, okay? That's probably the first thing I should do. Then I want to give you a little background on what winter ball is, what Puerto Rico is. Well, you know what Puerto Rico is U.S. territory, obviously, but that you guys know what the league is down there. The league is Liga Baseball Professional Roberto Clemente. Roberto Clemente, that name, I believe, a couple of years ago, they renamed the Puerto Rican Winter League to the Roberto Clemente League, honoring the great Roberto Clemente. In the Winter League this year, you've got, mentioned Ryan Grotjohn was in Carolina, and you've got Jan Hernandez and Roy Morales, former T-Bone, also playing in Santurce. I saw where Darnell Sweeney is in Mazatlan. I did see that this morning. So far, limited at bats down there. Nick Torres from 18 is playing down in Mexico as well. Naranjos, 2 homers, 29 RBIs. Kevin Santa is playing as well there in Puerto Rico. I'm going to give you more on our next show, more in-depth stats on them. And I'm trying to find someone down there, and I'm reached out to a couple folks, just not in time for our show, but to talk more about Puerto Rico, the Winter League in Puerto Rico. Baseball goes back to Puerto Rico just like it does here. I mean, they've been playing baseball in Puerto Rico since the turn of the last century. Really, you can trace the history of baseball in Puerto Rico to the late 1800s. And what's really unique about winter ball and the relationship to the Monarchs, in particular the Negro Leagues themselves, and that's going to be the subject of today's Monarchs 101 with DV, is, hey, thank you very much, Casey. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well and staying. Let's try something. You want to try something, guys? I want to try something here. Hold on, I'm going to try something here. Because I can do this now. I want to try a little something. So let me try this, see how it looks. Tell me if you guys like this. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. Let's just see if it works. So just give me a moment. You folks on the audio side, this is not what you bargained for, I'm sure, but let's just see how this looks. And we will. All right. There we go. It's kind of cool, right? I don't know. Is it kind of cool? Sort of. Sort of cool. All right. Little virtual background there. Reborn, the Kansas City Monarchs. Good to see Casey Strong. Casey, you will be on a show coming up this spring, by the way. Just show you that thought out there to you. Again, more about the Puerto Rico and baseball in Puerto Rico. I've been playing down there going since the 1800s. But where the real unique thing about Puerto Rico is the history of the Negro League stars who played in Puerto Rico. Okay. And we're going to give you, again, more of the winter ball update. That's coming next show. But I want to kind of start it by explaining the baseball in Puerto Rico and quickly just tell you that the teams in Puerto Rico, and I'll get to the 101 in a moment, you've got Criollas de Caguas, Giants de Carolina, the Indios de Magallanes, and Cangrejeros de Santurce. That's Crabbers, Indians, Giants, and Creoles, I believe. And they play in the following. There's actually 6 teams. There's also a team called RA12. RA12 is a team of young Puerto Rican prospects, let's call them, okay? They're going to be young, unproven, maybe not signed yet, or if they have been signed, they're very, very young. They play out of San Juan. The Carolina is Roberto Clemente Stadium. There is where the Giants play. Caguas is where the Criollas play. The Indians play in Magallanes, which is that. If you've been to Puerto Rico, you know it's a long cigar island, basically, right? And San Juan kind of sits on the northeast side of the island. You've got Magallanes is to the west. You've got it's not a very big place, mind you, but there are 2 teams based in San Juan. The team from Santurce plays their games in San Juan at Bitorn Stadium, which is the big national stadium there in Puerto Rico. I've been there. It's a really pretty cool place. All the Expos and Rangers played there a few years ago, and then the RA12 team plays there as well. So basically, that's your 6 teams and scattered around the island. And I believe it's the way it works. I mean, I'm kind of stammering here because I just dropped my screen. Sorry about that. I promise I will pick it up here in a moment. It's the beautiful part about being on the audio side, folks. But those 6 teams, the winner of the Puerto Rican Winter League, or the Roberto Clemente League, the winner of that league will enter the Caribbean World Series, or Caribbean Series, really Caribe Series, and that is the teams all playing winter ball down that way. Cuba used to play, but a couple of years ago, because of visa issues in 2018, Cuba's not been allowed to send a champion. The Mexico Pacific League sends a champion. Panama sends a champion. Venezuela sends a champion. Dominican Republic sends a champion. Puerto Rico sends a champion. I'm missing one. And I don't remember who I'm missing. Well, anyway, they play this Caribbean World Series. That series goes on the tail end of January into February. and that'll be played this year in the Dominican Republic. That'll be played, I believe, and I got a graphic up for you as well. The way it works is those 6 teams playing in the Caribbean World Series. Let me just pull this up for you while we're doing this. Boy, Vaughn, you're all over the place today. All over the place today, Vaughn. What are you doing? Brutal. Where was I? The top 6 teams, I thought I had the schedule here, but I guess I don't. The top 6 teams play in the Caribbean World Series. Dominican Republic's hosting this year, Santo Domingo, big ballpark there. And it's a 12, well, it was a 12 game. Now I think it's a 10-game round robin, and then 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And the winners of those 2 games play for the Caribbean Series Championship. That'll be the first weekend of February. So a little background on baseball 101 there, the Winter Leagues. But I will have a great Winter League update for you coming up next show. We'll get stats and get you hopefully some news from the island, maybe a player from the island joining us as well. That's what we're working on there in the wings. So I bring this graphic down and back here, Rain Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. Dan Vaughn with you as we round third, head for home. Mentioned that we do have some Monarchs 101 with DV. And let me bring this down here so we can do that. Monarchs 101 with DV, it's a segment of the show where I dive into that real deep content, our partners, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. It's a group we firmly support, believe in. They're our partners. We are, as you heard Mark Brandmeier last time out, talking about the impact it's had on our club and vice versa, the proud relationship we both share. And I think it's very important that we all understand that we're not here as Monarchs without those folks. And that's why item number 1 today was Buck O'Neil. My 2 minutes with Buck O'Neil, or 2 good minutes of DB, was how the Hall of Fame got no business messing around. They didn't Buck O'Neil in. Got to, okay? Now, we're talking about Puerto Rico, though. I'm going to talk about Buck O'Neil on the podcast. For you folks on the video side, I was mentioning that Puerto Rico has a very special place in Negro League lore. Of course, 2020, Negro Leaguers became major leaguers, and we've talked about that, getting the recognition they deserve. Puerto Rico, some 217 Negro Leaguers played professionally in Puerto Rico between 1938 and 1968. And that doesn't include the ones who barnstormed through. There were also teams who came through. We've talked about how Monarchs had gone down, other teams had gone down, barnstormed to Puerto Rico. It doesn't count them. But the number of Negro League stars who played in Puerto Rico, and first off, they were treated better. The atmosphere was better. They didn't have to ride separate buses or separate. They didn't have to ride in separate trains, or of course the Monarchs traveling by bus or their own bus, but they could eat in the same restaurants as everybody else. There was no color line in Puerto Rico in general throughout Latin America. So it's very popular to play. Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Cuba were all very popular places for stars of the Negro Leagues. Very popular places. And so much so that there are some, Willard Brown, who I'm going to tell you about today. We've talked a lot about Willard Brown. And we've talked at length about Willard Brown. His time in the big leagues, very short, Hall of Famer, first African-American hit a home run in an American League ball game, coming an inside the park home run against the Tigers in 1947. But his time in Puerto Rico was legendary. And I want to give a big shout out. Jorge Colon Delgado has a great website. I encourage you to go check it out. It's negroleaguerspuertorico.com. Really good site with some really good insight. But I think I said 47, 1946. The short time, Willard Brown actually went to Puerto Rico in 46. He came back to 47. Brown went to Puerto Rico. He had one of the greatest seasons ever, batting .432, 27 home runs, 88 RBIs in just 60 games, winning the Triple Crown, earning the nickname Ese Hombre, which translates that man. He won the Puerto Rican Winter League Triple Crown in 1949-1950 seasons as well. And also for the cycle down there in Puerto Rico, and I got a shot of you for you guys of Willa Brown there there we go. Sorry, I'm so disorganizing up. There we go. Willa Brown there in Puerto Rico, but he was a legend. Of course, Willa Brown was with the big leagues, released by the Browns, went back to Puerto Rico, that Triple Crown season. He Chris came back to the Monarchs, finished his career playing with the Monarchs. He continued to play not just he played up in Canada, played down the Texas League, played in the Caribbean Series in Venezuela, also played Dominican Republic 51, 52. But he finished his career in Puerto Rico in 56, 57. He hit 350 in his career there, was named to the Puerto Rican Baseball Hall of Fame in 1991. Again, he hit 179 in 21 ball games, left the majors, but first becoming the first player to hit a home run in the American League. But it's that next winter, which I love about this story. He had that rough time in the big leagues. Of course, the abuse was just ridiculous. But he gets released. He goes down to Puerto Rico, has the best season ever of winter ball in Puerto Rican baseball history. Greatest seasons ever. 432, 27 long, 86 RBIs in 60 games. Talk about a great winner. And that's why Willa Brown is a legend in Puerto Rico. Not just a Hall of Famer in the States, but he is a Triple Crown winner. Here's one for you. I love this stat. He had 27 home runs that season in 1947. That was one home run ever, 8.76 at-bats. Again, Willa Brown hit 27 home runs in 234 at-bats for a home run ever, 8.76 at-bats in the Puerto Rican Winter League. That's why he's a legend in Puerto Rico. And that's today's Monarchs One Home of DV, that at Masters class and exciting content for our partners at 18th and Vine there in Kansas City. As Willa Brown, great stuff from him. And again, there's so much to talk about with him. There's also a whole thing. We may dive in a little bit this down the road, but I pulled up some really good stuff of Brown and some really interesting numbers that just jump off the page at you. But his winter ball numbers were incredible. All right, coming up this weekend is, as we round this thing up here in Rain Reborn, your Monarchs, the Veterans Committee is set to announce of course, all the Hall of Famers will be announced on Sunday on Major League Network. I'm going to bring the Rain Reborn down if you guys don't mind and get you guys something. Here we go. There we go. Couple things. First off, there's a couple of events going on, and I want to pass those on to you. First off, this one right here. The museum is doing an event on Sunday. There's also this going on Saturday, I believe. The Outfield Beer presents an afternoon with Negro Leagues Baseball Museum President Bob Kendrick. Come enjoy the stories of the Negro Leagues. That'll be Saturday, December 4th, 4 to 6. $20 ticket buys your first beer and $10 donation to the NLBM. And let me see to buy your tickets there. Sorry about that. It's on the screen there. Here we go. Buy your tickets at outfieldbeer.com. That's outfieldbeer.com. So that's coming up this weekend. Also, the museum is doing an event on Sunday. And I believe, let me pull this up for you. I have this up for you right here. Somewhere. The museum is doing an event on Sunday. Get the time for you. I had it all for you. Here we go. Again, the announcement will come down that evening, I believe 5 o'clock, but I believe the event's from 2 to 5 there at the Negro Leagues Museum there in Kansas City. So I encourage you folks to go by, check them out. And let me pull this up here because I want to make sure I get this right. So bear with me. They're talking about yourselves on Rain Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. And it's a little slow here. There we go. But I want to make sure I get this right. So here we go. But the museum is doing an event on Sunday, and I want to encourage you folks to get down there. Great stuff. Yeah, it's join the Negro Leagues Museum to watch the live results of the early baseball era and golden era committee vote to see if Buck O'Neil and other Negro Leaguers are selected in the Hall of Fame, you can go to their Facebook page, check it out. There's an entire link to it. Go there, check out the link, and you can get yourself in the make a reservation and get down to the museum. And I'll put this graphic up for you as well. I do have a graphic. Turns out I do. I do have a graphic, folks. I don't like the every 2 weeks because I get off base. Well, I thought I had a graphic. I guess I don't have a graphic. All good. Okay. Reign Reborn, the Kansas City Monarchs. What is the situation with the Veterans Committee? I thought I'd give this to you as we close things out. The Veterans Committee is really 3 different committees. It's kind of it's the blanket word for all the old dudes, right? I mean, for lack of a better word. But the Veterans Committee has pre-integration 1871 to 1946, golden era 47 to 72, and expansion 73 and later. And I believe what they do, if I can explain this to you, it's a catch-all phrase to reconsider players who either get through the normal election process, maybe they were not playing folks, managers, umpires. J.L. Wilkinson would qualify when he was elected back as well back in the day. But the Veterans Committee, and they're staggered every 3 years. So this year, it's the golden era and expansion era. So that group of voters, we're going to get together as a committee of 16. I believe it's 16. But the 75% criteria still applies, just like it does to the normal Hall of Fame votes. So the trade-off of the whole thing is really the only difference between, say, all right, do I vote for player A who just retired, who's a legend, or do I vote for this guy from back in the day? The big difference in the two criteria is that first criteria, the eligible players that are in that 5-year window and beyond, those are on the field, although we've seen with some of the names that have been omitted by their vote with off-field issues has come to play. I'm not going to get in debate about that. Not going to debate about it. That's not a debate. I won't touch that. But that first group of players, the standard Hall of Famers, go in based upon that criteria on the field. You know, the Hall of Fame numbers, right? The second group, though, it's a little bit different because managers, umpires, all that, it's a wider group. And this is where I talked about the 2 good minutes at the opening of the show. Buck O'Neil, while his stats don't stand out at you, they're not huge major league stats. But his contribution, not just as a player, as a coach, as a scout, as a pioneer, as a storyteller, as an ambassador, all the things, and getting the Negro Leagues Museum off the ground. I mean, that labor of love for him, putting a Hall of Fame and a museum together to acknowledge a really forgotten group of men. And I'm guilty of it as well, because I can tell you as a person, you know, I did all this reading, but I didn't read enough about Leon Day or Buck O'Neil. I knew about Jackie Robinson, but I didn't read about Willard Brown. I didn't know the story about Willard Brown with the big leagues, the Browns, and was the part of the first 2 African Americans to play in the major league roster in the same lineup card. You know, I didn't know his story in Puerto Rico. And again, that's where this whole subcommittee, golden era, expansion era, the voters have a lot more sway because there's a lot more criteria involved. Thus, the opportunity is there. And I hope this opportunity is there on Sunday for Buck O'Neil. Again, you can catch it on MLB Network. I believe that's 5 o'clock. The museum is doing an event down there. Go to their Facebook page, and you can get that interview. You can get that information as well at nlbm.com. Last call for questions and comments. We got to get out of this thing here and head on to the audio side of things. Excuse me. But our next show coming up, it's a bit of a surprise, I believe. But 2 weeks, we're doing this. Now, of course, we're in the holiday season. We have one more show, then we have the holiday, and we'll be off until after the first of the year. Where to find us? Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you do social media right now on YouTube and Facebook Live. Mark us, like us, get a notification set, all the social channels. Morgan Kalinda and her staff are doing a great job keeping us afloat on social media. You can also follow me at Dan Vaughn Jr. I'll put that on the screen for you as well. Promise I can do that. At Twitter. And you can also follow me on YouTube as well. But again, our YouTube channel's rocking. All of our Monarchs minutes are there. The interview with Lance will be there. This show will be archived there. All that on our social channels. So please follow us on our social channels. And the podcast will drop overnight. We'll be back on the podcast side of things overnight. That'll be about 5 a.m. So you're up early. You can probably hear it early. But I won't be posting it at 5. I'll set a timer for it. So there's that. But again, social channels, and I encourage you to go to monarchsbaseball.com. That's where all of our merch is, all the news and notes, everything for your Monarchs. Again, last call on questions and comments for you. Oh, the coffee getting low here too. Getting low, which means it's time to get out of here. But I want to give you guys one final chance to comment if you have anything to say. There's my Twitter handle right there. And again, we're glad you guys took a little time. You're watching us on replay or listening on audio. Thank you. The reason I believe we're the best, because you're the best. The fans of the Monarchs. I know it gets old, but I say it every time. Let's be better tomorrow than we were today. Let's show more love tomorrow than we did today. Let's be better fans, better supporters of the game. And when Buck O'Neil gets announced on Sunday, let's go nuts. Let's go crazy and celebrate Reborn. It's a special, special brand, a special, special name, and a great story to tell. And a time when things aren't always so great. There's a lot of bad stories out there. The story of the Monarchs and Reborn and Buck O'Neil is a story we can all love, all cherish, and all celebrate. Until next time, Dan Vaughn telling you one more time, I love y'all. Let's do a 1, 2, 3, go Monarchs. You guys ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go Monarchs. I'll see you next time, everybody.